Good afternoon, happy Savage Saturday, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and today, guys, we're here with part 2 of 4 of our Red Sonja the Black Tower read-along in this week's Savage Saturday Comic Review, episode 145. And again, a fun story, one that has elements in it that I don't normally like in my Hyborian Age stories, but this writer found a way to make it work. And I really enjoyed the tale. I really love the art in this as well. So here is the issue 2 cover, Amanda Conner. And you know, I'll put the stuff up on the side for you. Fun cover by Amanda Conner. You got Sonja with an eye patch. And so it's written by Frank Thierry with art by Cesar Razic, colors by Salvatore Ayala Studios, and letters by Simon Bolin. All right, and the main covers are done by Amanda Conner with colors by Paul Mounts. So that's what we have going on. This was issue 1, and when we left last issue, we saw Sonja riding out of town, having left behind a guy that she had unmanned, who was just a ruffian, a rogue, had a group of bandits with him, were causing general distress. And there was a mysterious black power in the background. Black Tower. And this tower is still unknown of what it is. Now, the band that Sonja cut up and killed most of them, left a few alive, but they were threatening the townspeople. They were being just incredibly nasty people, and they were assaulting these strangers that were from the Black Tower. Now, at the end of the first issue, one of the ruffians that was with this gang and with the main bad guy right now was coming to terms with, she had placed her bets on the wrong side, and she immediately flipped to the side of the townsfolk now, saying that the Black Tower needed to be praised, that the people up there were gods. This after getting up out of the dirt, bleeding from Sonja beating her, and seeing that the people that they were assaulting had disappeared, were gone, not to be seen anymore. And she declared that they were gods and that they had misjudged them, and she was starting to create a religion for this Black Tower. Sonja couldn't believe what she was seeing. She felt like she had wasted her time there in that town, and she was on her way out. So now we get back into the story here, and this is taken up several years later. And as our story opens, it says, "Time passed, and with it came change for the city of Lure and its people. What was once a quiet place between places, as they used to say." And then we get our opening panel here. And this place used to be a place of good, a place of kindness, a place where strangers could stop by and pass a day or two knowing that they were safe, knowing that they would be embraced, and knowing that there was a friendly face in this town for them. And they could go there and not feel threatened. So as we turn the page, and again, this is years later, it says, we'll continue what it said. It said, "What was once a quiet place between places, as they used to say, was now the very heart of darkness. Horde dens, opiate houses, gladiatorial arenas, whatever vile act was the order of the day, Lure became its playground. The tower remained unchanged, a silent omen looming over this city of sin. Unflinching, defiant, it just stood there, as if it cared nothing about the chaos it inspired." And you can see this place that was once just beacon of light and hope in a really hard and desperate world had now become just as hard and desperate and banking on the sins of humanity as every other vile place in the Hyborian Age. So there we go. And again, gorgeous art. So as we turn our page and continue our story, amid the darkness came one source of light, however, the Sisterhood of the Black Tower. Though born of the corruption themselves, through the ill-gotten intentions of Byleth Mar, they soon changed their ways once Mar was exposed and dealt with. So this was the woman from the last episode who got beaten by Sonja, had started the religion, and now the people that had joined the religion with her found out that she was just doing it to save her own hide, and they took the religion seriously, so they burned her. It says they sought to quell the oncoming storm because they feel a bad omen on the way. It goes, but the storm came anyway. The warlords came anyway. They came, and among them were Urbane the barbarian, Ulick the strong, Satanos the evil, and Exianus Khan. Far and wide they came, each knowing that control Lur was to control the tower and the power it represented. And you can just see the depravity of this place. It's going further and further down in evil. And it says, but in the end, they all fell, all save one, Fengar Tolt. And this was the person at the end on the operating table that Sonya had demand. She cut off his third leg, and he no longer had it. Or swordless, as some referred to him behind his back. Woe to the man he heard call him that, however. For Fengar was not a man who could take a joke. Fengar had everything. He had Lur, the arenas, control of the tower. Yet for years there was one thing that eluded him, one thing that he wanted above all else. Revenge upon the one who rendered him swordless. And then we see someone having a bag pulled from over their head, and in chains we see Red Sonja being presented before him. So the rise of this warlord. Sonja probably should have just finished him on the battlefield. Now he is reigning supreme in this depraved city of Lur, which was once just a golden beacon of a place to be. And we see Sonja with a patch. More on that patch after. It says, Sonja, my dear. And this is Fengar talking. It may have taken more gold and men and weapons than I would have thought possible, but finally we're face to face once again, as it were. Any last words before my men feed you your innards? And Sonja just spits at him. And he says, defy it until the end. Very well. And he goes, meet your executioners. And it's two people that she had cut their hands off in the first battle when she had met them. And they're like, remember us? You took our hands. And she goes, and one of you bastards took my eye. You don't seem crying about it. And then she beckons them, let's get this over with already. And you see the one that has a crossbow where her hand used to be shooting an arrow at her. Now, the only problem I found that I thought was funny in the story, and it's not really an important detail, but nowhere in that first issue in the battle does Sonja lose an eye. And when she leaves the town, she has both eyes. So they made a little mistake with continuity going into this issue. But in the end, the eye patch and her losing an eye doesn't really matter to the main story. So it gets a pass from me. So as the arrow approaches Sonja, she lifts the chain up and the arrow hits the chain and snaps it so she has her hands free. She takes the arrow and shoves it into a guy's face, and she grabs a girl and she's holding her. When the guy swings, she is able to break the rest of the chain, the shackles, with the sword. And then she takes the arrow, and she continues to slice him and dice him and just tear up his face, tear his throat open. And she leaves both of them for dead after choking one out and slicing up the other. It says, now I took more than just your hands. And yet you see Fengar Tolt sitting up over the arena in his throne. He says, well, that didn't go as planned. Alas, there's plenty more where that came from. Release the beast. And you see this this Tyrannosaurus Rex beast with like an octopus mouth come out. And you just see Sonja going, Taram's blood. One of her gods, Taram. And give you a good look at that. Stuff is happening. And the beast is roaring. Sonja's sizing it up. She has her blade ready, and the beast charges. And Sonja's just standing there, sword at hand, waiting for it. And she dives under its belly. And you see the beast tumble over her. But when Sonja rises, her sword is dripping blood red. And you see the creature scream and then collapse. And when it collapses, its underside is exposed. And its entrails are coming out where Sonja cut open its belly. So a quick, short, savage battle that Sonja was the better of. Alright, and then as we turn, you see the whole crowd is amazed. All eyes are open and wide. They can't believe what they just witnessed. You see Fengar just scream, next, send in the next. And Sonya says, no, Fengar. And she runs up the beast. She goes, because you've given me what I need, the means to get to you. And she jumps on this great beast, and she has a clear path up to where he's sitting above the crowd. She goes, the only thing that's next? He goes, no, what are you? And she tosses him down into the arena, is you. And he's like, no, please. He's on his back. He's begging. He's shielding his face. And then when she goes to hit him, another sword gets in the way. She goes, and it says, Sonya fought valiantly that day, but there were too many. And then we'll go to this. So, a lot of savagery. Sonya almost had a revenge and just finished this dude off. But he has people watching out for him. And he goes, in truth, Sonya the Red might have fallen that day, if not for one thing. One miraculous thing. For on that day, the impossible happened. The tower opened. And what emerged would change everything forever. So the tower opened. Sonya was fighting for her life against the crowd. And you see these creatures come out of this tower, which had remained inert forever since it had arrived. And as these creatures descend into the arena, they start slicing everybody up with their glowing swords, much like lightsabers. And you see them just murdering everybody in their path. And you see some old guy with his chains cut. It says, oh, thank you, you saved us. Praise the gods, praise. And then he's cut down by them. And the creature says, praise Thraxus. And they all look alike, these creatures. And Sonya says, bye, Mitra. What are you? And the one turns towards her and takes a swing at her. She parries it, and then she hits him in the face with her pommel and cracks the thing. And she goes, Taram's blood, as she starts to see what she's up against. So there we go. See, the pace of the story is really picked up. A lot going on. And then, as we turn to our final page, Sonya is saying, what manner of creature are you? And before her stands this creature with a robotic face, now that it's uncovered. And our issue says, to be continued. So again, great art. And now we're starting to learn a little bit more about this tower, and at least be able to hypothesize about what it holds and what it's going to mean to Sonya and that town. But that was part 2. Leaving again with another mysterious panel. What's going to happen? Why are these robotic creatures here? Who's controlling them? And what is this all about? And why has the influence of this tower so darkened what Lure has become in its wake? So there's a lot more mystery to be solved here and a lot more to get into. I'll give this, now this in part 3, of course they're middle parts. We're going to give this a B+. It moved the story along. It served its purpose greatly, all right? It starts years later. You see what the town's become. You see what it's becoming. You see the return of Red Sonya. You see the return of an old enemy. And you see the advent of a new enemy and a new threat being presented. And then it leaves it open for the next chapter. So great job. And the art is fantastic. Can give the art an A+. Absolutely love the art. And Chapter 3 is going to be next week, guys. Overall, I'm going to give this issue an A. It did everything it was supposed to do. It deepened the mystery. It moved the plot along. It brought Sonya back in a creative way. It brought, it did have that one hiccup with the eye patch. Yes, it's a cool aesthetic. Yes, it looks neat. But that she was not injured in that way in the first story, which is the only part that the story gets a little less credit from me, because it's just a simple continuity error. And they could have had that fixed and had her get cut in the first issue in a panel. But overall, A+ on this issue. Really liked it. The cover by Amanda Conner is great, and Paul Montz. And looking forward to reading issue 3 to you guys to continue this story. So hopefully you're enjoying this tale, because we have 2 more episodes to go. But thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep it casual.